Most people don't fail at Python because it's hard. They fail because they try to follow a generic roadmap, try to learn everything, but don't know in what order and when and where to use AI. In this video, I'm going to walk you through a practical Python roadmap for data analysis and how and where to use AI to be a better coder. This is the only roadmap and 6 steps you need to follow to learn Python for data analysis. At this point, you're probably wondering, do I need to even learn Python anymore? ChatGPT can write the code for me. Honestly, if I were you, I would ask the same question. If your work involves data analysis, automation, or machine learning, Python is still one of the most useful tools you can learn. Not because you'll be writing every line of code by hand, but because you need to understand what the code is doing and how it fits into your analysis. That being said, you should definitely use tools like ChatGPT to learn Python or learn any coding language. And throughout this video, I'm going to show you how in each step you can use tools like ChatGPT to learn faster and in a smarter way. With that, let's actually get into the roadmap. The step number 1 that you need to follow is understand how Python differs from role and pick your roadmap. Before you start learning Python, you need to pick the role you're learning it for because Python looks very different depending on the job. Don't get it? Let me explain. Software engineers, data professionals, and machine learning engineers all use Python, but they all focus on different skills. For example, software engineers use Python for building applications, writing clean modular code that lives in production systems, as well as accessing APIs. In contrast, machine learning engineers use Python for feature engineering, model training and evaluation, and building machine learning models. Data roles such as data analysts and data scientists use Python for data cleaning, data analysis, visualization, and reporting. When people try to follow a generic Python roadmap, they try to learn all of these roles and all of these things all at once, and that's where they get stuck because there is so much to learn. So, which is why the first step you should be doing before you actually start learning is figure out why you're learning Python. What is your use case? What is the role that you want to target or you're currently in that you should be learning Python for? For the rest of this video, we're going to follow the data-focused Python roadmap. The fundamentals still apply everywhere, but everything from here on is framed around real data work. So how exactly are you going to use AI in step 1? Well, you're actually going to create a roadmap for your role. This is the exact prompt you're going to enter where you're going to tell it that you're a seasoned data professional and you're trying to teach your juniors. Create a Python roadmap for data analysis, things that you should learn in Python and things that you should actually avoid when you're starting out, because that's how you're going to make your roadmap lean and focused to your use case. And also let me know in comments what role you're learning Python for. Is it data analyst, data scientist, business analyst, or something else? Now that you understand why you're learning Python and what exactly you need to learn, here are the exact setup that you need for data analysis. And we're going to keep it minimal and simple. For data related work, your setup should optimize for exploration and iteration of your data analysis. At this stage, the goal isn't to build production system. It is just to do simple analysis. It is to run code, inspect results from your data, and move quickly. You only need one thing at this stage, which I would recommend, is either a Google Colab or Jupyter Notebook. You can actually access Google Colab Notebook using this link below. Later on, once you're comfortable with notebooks, you can extend your toolkit to VS Code once you are more comfortable navigating files and projects, virtual environments when you start managing multiple projects, Git commands when you're working on real projects or collaborating with others. The North Star here is fast feedback. Using a simple notebook to start with, you should be able to load data, run code, and inspect outputs within seconds. If your setup at this stage slows you down, then it's too complicated. So keep it simple. How can you actually use AI in this stage? Here, a simple prompt you can write in ChatGPT. I want to set up a Python environment for data analysis. What tools do I need and what can I skip as a beginner? Again, remember I entered what to skip because that part is important. You don't want to get lost in all the tools that you need to know as a Python coder in the beginning. So we're going to keep it simple. Okay, now that you know why you're learning Python, what are the simple tools you need to get started with, we're going to get into the core Python fundamentals that you need to know for data work. And these fundamentals are non-negotiable because they are how you express analytical logic in code. Before you touch large dataset or libraries, you need to be comfortable working with small pieces of data in Python. You should be focusing on variables and data types for storing values and intermediate results, lists and dictionaries for representing collections and structured records, loops and conditionals for applying logic repeatedly and selectively, writing small helper functions for reusing logic instead of copy pasting, and obviously reading and fixing errors so you can understand what Python is actually telling you. And I just want to emphasize that for data roles, dictionaries and loops matter more than advanced language features. Here's why. Real data work is about mapping, grouping, and transforming information. A dictionary lets you map customer IDs to purchase histories. A loop lets you process each transaction, apply rules, and calculate metrics step by step. Once you understand these building blocks, higher level tools like pandas stop feeling magical, they become predictable. The goal at this stage is simple. You should be able to take a small, messy, structured dataset and reshape it confidently before scaling it up to actual big data. And if you're liking this video so far, hit like and subscribe because I share a lot more educational content that are similar to this that you might find helpful. So how do you actually use AI in step 3? This is the exact prompt we're going to be using. We're going to ask, give me 5 Python practice problems, focus on lists and dictionaries using realistic data analysis examples. For each problem, explain the reasoning, not just the solution. And if you're looking for a quick structured guide to learn Python, then I recommend checking out this Introduction to Python guide from HubSpot, who is also sponsoring this portion of the video. The guide covers libraries like pandas, numpy, and matplotlib, which are some of the essential Python libraries for analyzing data, and we're going to talk about it more in a minute. It also walks you through Python fundamentals that you will use constantly in data work, like variables, lists, loops, and functions. This gives you a solid foundation, so when you move to real data set, you're not guessing what's happening, you actually know what's happening. For example, you'll learn dictionaries, which let you store data as key value pairs. This is especially important for data analysis because a lot of real-world data comes in formats like JSON files and API responses where values are tied to name keys. The ebook breaks down these concepts with simple explanation and includes practical code snippets you can copy and paste and adapt to your own work. My favorite part is the section on dictionaries since they come up constantly when you are working with the real-world data and APIs. It's available to download for free. I'm linking it below if you want to check it out. Now let's talk about step number 4 and deep dive into specific Python libraries you need to know for data analysis work. This is where Python becomes a data tool and not just a programming language. Libraries like pandas exist so you don't have to manually write loops for common data operations. They let you express analytical intent directly. So you should be prioritizing pandas for working with tabular data, numpy for numerical operations and arrays, matplotlib for visualizations, or seaborn, or you can layer both of them together, but pick one and stick to it. With these libraries, you should learn how to load CSV file and tables, filter, group, and aggregate data, handle missing values, create simple plot to validate assumptions. Here you want to learn patterns and not just memorize the code. For example, understanding that group by will split your data, apply a function, and combine results is more valuable than memorizing. And the bonus point, if you know SQL, learning pandas and working with pandas becomes much more intuitive and easier. When I started to learn Python, I took my SQL code and applied the same logic to Python and did a one-to-one mapping. For example, this is how group by is written in SQL. Now I'm going to take that group by and write it in Python. That whole mental framework and mental model was super helpful going from SQL to Python specifically. And if you know SQL right now and you're trying to learn Python, let me tell you, like, it's going to be much easier for you if you use the same mental model that I just mentioned. So this is how you use AI in step 4. You will write a prompt like, I have a tabular data set and a question I want to answer. Show me how to explore, clean, and analyze data using pandas and explain reasoning behind each step. Show me multiple ways to clean it using pandas and explain the trade-offs. Now, I'm giving you a simple prompt, but you can obviously build on top of it. Definitely ask follow-up questions because that's exactly how you would learn. And here's another hack that I love to use with ChatGPT or any of the LLM tools out there is ask it to explain like it's explaining to a 5-year-old, or give you analogies. Like analogies is my favorite because when I do analogies, like the knowledge just sticks with me. So like understand if that's the type of learning that you like, use AI as your tutor and ask it to teach in a way that makes sense to you. Let's move on to step number 5, which in my opinion is one of the most important steps when working with data. Up until now, you've been learning Python as a data manipulation tool, loading data, transforming it, and reshaping it. Now the focus is going to shift. This is where you start using Python to judge whether the data actually makes sense and what it's really saying. At this stage, you're using the same tools, mainly like pandas, NumPy, and simple plots, but for a different purpose. You're exploring distributions, you're cleaning data intentionally, you're validating metrics and assumptions. You are thinking analytically, which is one of the most important skills when working with data. So how do you actually think analytically about your data? You do this by defining and adding sanity check for your metrics. You look beyond the average, you handle messy values, you understand what outliers are and how to catch and address them. You run multiple checks before trusting any result. For example, EDA and data cleaning aren't just steps, they are how you pressure test your analysis before making a decision. This is the difference between manipulating data and explaining insights with confidence. And if you're trying to become a data analyst or a data scientist, watch this in this video for complete roadmap on both roles. Remember that analytical thinking is crucial for any data-related role, especially with the rise of AI. Your analytical thinking will set you apart from any work that an AI tool can do. But let me know if you want me to share a dedicated video on how to think analytically when working in a data role. So how do you actually use AI in step 5? Here is a simple prompt. You can share your sample data set with LLMs and give it a simple insight that you've already gathered from your analysis and ask it questions like, what are some other analytical things that I am missing from this data set? Or what are some opposing opinion that somebody could have looking at the same insight that I'm looking at? We're moving really fast because we're almost at our last step, which is our step number 6. At this point, you know about 90% of the Python that you need to know for data analysis, but you're not done yet because until you apply it, the knowledge won't stick. So now it's time to start doing real data analysis work. The reason you need to do projects because once you do the project, you will actually deal with the messy data yourself. You will run into so many problems that you probably didn't run into, or actually you didn't run into when you watched this video or you watched another tutorial. When you actually do hands-on work yourself, you're gonna run into real problem where you'll have to think on the spot. And when you actually solve a messy data yourself, when you actually do a project yourself, the knowledge sticks with you more. So I don't think I need to keep saying this because I say this in literally every video of mine. Doing hands-on work is very, very important, especially when you're trying to learn something new. If you're trying to figure out projects, my advice is to start small, then add complexity to it. And if you're trying to figure out which projects to do, here are 3 simple practical projects that you could do. For example, project number 1 could be related to building a report. Here you will recreate a report you have already built in SQL, like last year's sales by region or product, using pandas and validate the numbers and match it. Second project idea is doing an exploratory data analysis that you have never worked with. Here you will use Python to uncover trends, find outliers, find seasonality, and identify data quality issues using Python. Last project idea is metric validation, where you audit a key business metric by checking assumptions, handling missing data, testing edge cases, and confirming it behaves consistently over time. These were some very simple intro level project ideas. You can obviously come up or look up more project ideas, and you can also use ChatGPT or any of the LLM tools here to come up with project ideas. One of the platforms for getting access to data is Kaggle. I really like Kaggle for getting access to data set. You can also use Google Dataset, which has a lot of data set available to you. I also want to share that if you're looking for a structured way to practice Python through real data analysis projects, then you can also check out this 5 data analysts and 5 data scientists hands-on project courses, which I personally developed. They walk you through end-to-end projects that mirror real data analysts or data scientists, from cleaning to exploration to validation to building models to insights to feature engineering, you name it. I'm going to link it in description below. Feel free to check it out. And let me know in comments what are some project ideas that you're planning to do. Here you can also use AI to come up with great project ideas and problem. You can give it data set samples and you can tell it to come up with problem statements for this project that I can solve. All right, these were my 6-step roadmap for learning Python fast for data analysis and how to use AI in each step. Remember that learning will not stop after this video. You will be learning on the job every day like I do. And if this video was helpful, let me know in comments, because my goal is to create content for you all that is practical and educational. So if something is helping you, it really helps me to know, because I know what to create more and more of. With that, I hope you're having a beautiful day, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good one. Bye.